AITA for telling my sister's kids the truth about why I never had children? Posting this on an alt account. My 36F, younger sister, 34F, has 3 kids, aged 7, 5, and 3. I'm child-free by choice, which has always been a point of contention in my family. My sister especially has been very vocal about her belief that a woman's purpose is to be a mother and how I'm missing out on the best part of life. I've always just brushed it off to keep the peace. Recently, my sister and her kids came over to my house. While my sister was busy, her 7-year-old asked me why I don't have kids. I tried to give a vague, polite answer, but they kept pressing, saying their mom told them that I would change my mind one day because everyone does. At this point, I decided it was time for the truth. I calmly told them that I didn't want children because I value my freedom, career, and personal time. I explained that while some people love being parents, others find happiness in different ways, and that it's okay not to have kids if that's what makes you happy. I also added that everyone's life choices are valid as long as they're happy and fulfilled. My sister overheard part of the conversation and later blew up at me, accusing me of trying to brainwash her kids and undermine her parenting. She said that I was selfish for planting doubt in her children's minds about the importance of family. She even accused me of glamorizing a lifestyle that she feels is empty and meaningless. She stormed out with her kids, and later my parents called, siding with her. They said I should have just humored the kids or deflected the question, and that I owed my sister an apology for causing unnecessary drama. I don't think I did anything wrong. I was honest, respectful, and gave a balanced perspective. I'm tired of being made to feel like my choices are lesser or need to be hidden just to avoid conflict. I believe it's important for kids to know that there are different paths in life, and not all of them involve having children. AITA for being honest with my niece and nephews about why I chose not to have kids, even if it caused a family rift. Story 2. AITA for refusing to teach my dad's wife how to make my mom's pie. My mom had this pie she used to make all the time. It was the family favorite dish. My siblings, 7F, 6 meters, and I, 17 meters, love it. After mom died 2 years ago, I took over making it. Now my dad is remarried and his wife wants to learn to make the pie because she said it's a motherly thing to do, make your kid's favorite meal, and she feels like I'm getting in the way of her having that experience with them. I refuse to teach her how to make it. I told her I'm going to keep making it and giving it to my siblings, and it's an experience where I can tell them about mom and they can ask about her. She told me she's going to be their mom now and deserves to have the chance to do this for them. I told her I don't care and I'm not teaching her. My dad told me I should step back and let his wife step in and take over this kind of thing, and I'm the only one who knows it of the two of us. She tried a few times to remake it and it wasn't liked. She told me making something like that is a whole part of motherhood and I'm denying her. That I need to get out of her way of making it as my sibling's mom. She told me teaching her is honoring the family she wants to have. I'm still refusing to teach her and I get asked more each day because I'm closer to turning 18 and moving into the house my aunt owns nearby. My dad and his wife are more angry now than ever. AITA? Story 3. AITA for not letting my mom see my kids because of fat shaming? I, 31F, was on the chubby side growing up and my mom, 58F, was always hard on me for my weight. It deeply impacted my self-esteem, to the point that I ended up losing an unhealthy amount of weight in my teens just to please her. Once I left the house, I gained some weight back and, after years of therapy, I finally felt like I had a healthy relationship to food and exercise. My mom also seemed to stop being as obsessed with my body once I wasn't around her 24/7, and our relationship got a lot better. I had a daughter 9 years ago, let's call her Mia. Mia is a sweet girl and adores her grandma. A couple days ago I sent her and her brother, Liam, 7 meters, to stay with my parents for the weekend. On the car ride home, I noticed that Mia wasn't her bubbly self and asked her if something was wrong. She was clearly embarrassed, but eventually she started to bawl and told me what happened. Apparently, that afternoon they had gone out for ice cream. Mia tried to order a cone with 2 scoops, but my mother stopped her and changed her order to a single scoop in a cup. When Liam ordered a cone with 2 scoops, my mother didn't say a word. When Mia asked why Liam got a cone and not her, my mother told her it was because she's fat and needs to lose weight or nobody will find her attractive. I was livid. The second we got home, I called my mom and told her that what she said was completely unacceptable and that from then on, I would have to chaperone any time she spent with my daughter. My mom told me I was overreacting, that Mia was exaggerating, and that I shouldn't believe a 9-year-old over her. She told me it's probably just something she picked up in dance class and that I was projecting. I was pretty sure she was full of crap, but I wanted to verify anyway, so I had another talk with Mia. I told her that if my mother ever says anything like that to her again, to tell me right away. She started crying again, and told me that not only was this not the first time something like this happened, but also that my mother told Mia not to tell me because I'm fat and she wouldn't want to be like me. I called my mom again, and told her everything Mia told me. All she said was, "Well, was I wrong? You are fat." I hung up. She tried to call me again but I didn't pick up. I haven't responded to her since. This morning she got my brother involved. He thinks it is an overreaction to not respond and that she didn't mean any harm, but I am pretty adamant about not wanting to expose my daughter to her bullshit. I told my brother that if my mother is willing to apologize to Mia and agree to chaperone visits, I might consider letting them see each other. I know she won't do that. I feel horrible because it's Liam's birthday next week and I know he wants his grandma there, but I just don't feel comfortable with my kids being around her, not yet. AITA? Edited to fix typos. Edited to add, I don't think my mom's comments would be acceptable even if she were overweight, but Mia is perfectly healthy for a girl her age. She is very active, a dancer, so she eats a lot to sustain herself, but her weight has never been an issue. Story 4. AITA for refusing to help babysit my stepsister's baby after school? My stepsister, 18F, has a 3-month-old baby. She and the baby live with her dad, aka my stepdad, my mom and me, 16 meters. The baby's father and father's family don't care about the baby, so it's all on my stepsister. Her dad said she could live here for as long as she wants/needs and she'll have help. Thing about that is, she doesn't want my mom's help or mine. My mom is blind to this. Her husband wants to ignore the part where she doesn't want help from me and mom, and they expect us to chip in and pull together as a family to help. My mom and stepdad have been married for 10 years. They met at a widowed parents group 2 months after my dad died and 3 months after my stepdad's wife died. They were dating before the end of the year and married within 5 months. It went about as bad as you probably expect. We didn't blend. My stepsister wanted nothing to do with me or mom, and she struggled with being jealous any time her dad even spoke to me. Being a little younger when everything went down, people expected me to see my stepdad as my new dad pretty quickly, and a lot were shocked it didn't happen. He never tried to be. But I think he also expected it to just happen because of my age. So there's a weird relationship where I call him my stepdad, but I don't ever really say my parents for him and mom, I'll just say my mom. I'll also never call my stepsister my sibling. There's a way better chance my stepdad will be talked about as one of my parents before I'd ever call her a sibling/family. We just don't like each other, and while we agree on some things, like my mom and her dad getting married and making us live together way too fast, I don't want to treat people like shit because of it either. Although my mom is so naive when it comes to my stepsister and how she feels that maybe I'd lose it too. This shit all started when my stepsister went into labor. She was at home with mom, and instead of telling mom she went into labor, she called up her friend and had the friend drive her to the hospital and called her dad screaming. He went to her and called my mom like, "Where are you? She's having the baby," and my mom rushes over there. My stepsister didn't let my mom into the room at all and didn't let my stepdad introduce the baby to her. But of course she was going to lean on mom so much after giving birth, not. My stepsister lets her dad watch the baby for her, but my mom? No way. And now someone needs to watch the baby weekdays after school, and they, mom and stepdad, want me to do it. My stepsister wants my stepdad to do it or to pay for a sitter for 3 hours until she gets home. I told them there was no way I was watching the baby. My mom told me it would be a good chance for some uncle bonding. My stepdad said I never interact with the baby and this would be the perfect chance. Even when my stepsister said no, my stepdad told her someone needs to watch the baby and he can't. Mom and stepdad are angry I didn't change my mind and agree. AITA? Story 5. AITA for not being home even though they cancelled our date. I reconnected with an old friend from over 10 years ago. We were work friends, late teens, and I left the company, to which she then got into a relationship with a mutual friend of ours. We lost touch because it turns out he was controlling and because I focused on my career. Anyways, we reconnected a week or so ago and noticed she was probing to see how I felt about her. While I never had a thing for her back then, I did find her attractive, so I figured why not. She seemed very keen and we arranged for her to come over to mine when her daughter goes to her father's for the weekend. All seemed to be going well until I asked her what she likes to eat so I can cook. She said I didn't have to, and conversation seemed to die down that day. And for the next few days. I sent her my address but had a gut feeling she no longer wanted to come over even though she said nothing. Now I've learnt to trust my gut. So I made other plans and was out of the house. And right on the time she was supposed to come over, she texts me and said there was a change of plans and she has her daughter this weekend. Told her it's all good and these things happens and left it as that. But then she asked what I'm going to do instead and I said I'm out with friends. She got mad for standing her up. I asked her to explain and she said that if she were going to come over I wouldn't have been there. While true, she cancelled, which I had a good feeling about. She didn't read my last message where I sent her my address, so I highly doubt she would have shown without reading it. Should I have stayed in and not make alternative plans? Story 6. AITA for not letting my brother stay with me? My 26M brother, 35M, who lives 700 miles away approx, messaged me 2 days ago saying he's visiting my city for a week for work and he's pulling up on the 4th September. I responded saying it would be nice to see him one day or a couple of days, but I have quite a busy week that week, so do LMK when he's around. I haven't seen him since pre-COVID and we aren't that close, so I thought it would be nice to catch up. A few hours later my mom called me and told me I was being incredibly rude and a selfish brother for not immediately offering my brother to stay at my place. I had just assumed he was being given accommodation by his work, and she told me that his work thing was only 2 out of the 8 days he was staying and the rest of the time he had wanted to see me, which had not been made clear in his text. I have a tiny flat. It has 2 rooms, a kitchen with a pull-out sofa which is where I sleep, and a bathroom which is literally just a toilet and a sink. I don't have a shower or bath and I wash myself in the sink every day. I do not have room for guests ever. My mom suggested that I stay with a friend while my brother stays at my place. All my friends have similar living situations or aren't close enough that I could ask. There is a bit of a housing crisis in our area, or that I pay for my brother's hotel as I am being selfish, or that my brother stays with me and sleeps in my bed. There is almost no room. I explained why none of these would be possible, and she said I was just offering problems rather than solutions and that I was making it difficult on purpose for my brother, but I don't see why I have to drop everything for him to have this trip, but he is just guilting me saying he will have nowhere to stay. So AITA for choosing my brother over my stepdad to walk me down the aisle? I'm 26F, getting married, and asked my brother, 27 meters, if he would walk me down the aisle. He's doing it to represent our dad who died 20 years ago, but also because we grew up very close and have remained close as adults and even lived together for a time during our adult years. And now he's doing this for me and it means so much. But my choice has made my stepdad unhappy, my mom too, but my stepdad most of all. He married our mom when we were 8 and 9 years old. He couldn't have kids of his own and tried so hard to fill the gap with us/me. My brother was totally a jerk to him when we were kids, and as a result my stepdad stopped trying with him. My brother found it insulting to Dad's memory for our stepdad to try and live out his dream of fatherhood through us. I didn't like it either, but I was the more reserved of the two of us and never yelled at my stepdad or lashed out at him. But I never got close to him like he wanted me to either. I didn't want to share my dad's space with him. I did tell him this, and he told me if I gave it enough time I'd see that he could naturally slot in. But it never happened. And he has acknowledged it before too. When I was 15 and we were in family therapy, and I admitted I hadn't tried to open myself up to having another dad, and I always kept him separated from the role of a parent. I don't know if I'd say he accepted it, but he did give up on me after that too. But that was also because I told him I'd never turn against my brother, even though my brother was a dick to him. I was always respectful of him as an adult in the home. Like if he asked me/told me to do something around the house, I would. I would listen if he said no to going out or whatever. I just wasn't open to him the way he wanted me to be. And that's where this comes into play. My stepdad is upset that I chose my brother over him to walk me down the aisle. But he's more upset that I chose my brother, someone who was really a jerk to him back when we were kids and has never been sorry about it. My stepdad said of all the people I could have chosen, I went with the worst one. The person who shit all over him for daring to try and be a parent and fulfill a lifelong dream with kids who had lost their dad. He claimed my choice was meant as a dig to him. I said it was an honor to my dad and to the brother I have been close with my whole life. He told me that's not what it looks like. Apparently my mom's parents disagreed strongly with him and mom on that. But he told me that anyone who wasn't close to my dad will see it for what it really is, and I should be considering that before insulting him in this way. AITA? Story 7. AITA for choosing my brother over my stepdad to walk me down the aisle? I'm 26F, getting married, and asked my brother, 27 meters, if he would walk me down the aisle. He's doing it to represent our dad who died 20 years ago, but also because we grew up very close and have remained close as adults and even lived together for a time during our adult years. And now he's doing this for me and it means so much. But my choice has made my stepdad unhappy, my mom too, but my stepdad most of all. He married our mom when we were 8 and 9 years old. He couldn't have kids of his own and tried so hard to fill the gap with us/me. My brother was totally a jerk to him when we were kids, and as a result my stepdad stopped trying with him. My brother found it insulting to Dad's memory for our stepdad to try and live out his dream of fatherhood through us. I didn't like it either, but I was the more reserved of the two of us and never yelled at my stepdad or lashed out at him. But I never got close to him like he wanted me to either. I didn't want to share my dad's space with him. I did tell him this, and he told me if I gave it enough time I'd see that he could naturally slot in. But it never happened. And he has acknowledged it before too. When I was 15 and we were in family therapy and I admitted I hadn't tried to open myself up to having another dad and I always kept him separated from the role of a parent. I don't know if I'd say he accepted it, but he did give up on me after that too. But that was also because I told him I'd never turn against my brother even though my brother was a dick to him. I was always respectful of him as an adult in the home. Like if he asked me/told me to do something around the house, I would. I would listen if he said no to going out or whatever. I just wasn't open to him the way he wanted me to be. And that's where this comes into play. My stepdad is upset that I chose my brother over him to walk me down the aisle. But he's more upset that I chose my brother, someone who was really a jerk to him back when we were kids and has never been sorry about it. My stepdad said of all the people I could have chosen I went with the worst one. The person who shit all over him for daring to try and be a parent and fulfill a lifelong dream with kids who had lost their dad. He claimed my choice was meant as a dig to him. I said it was an honor to my dad and to the brother I have been close with my whole life. He told me that's not what it looks like. Apparently my mom's parents disagreed strongly with him and mom on that. But he told me that anyone who wasn't close to my dad will see it for what it really is and I should be considering that before insulting him in this way. AITA?